It's never quite clear to me how functions and equivalence happen. Whether or not it requires an action beforehand or after the fact, you do know that it requires energy. And anything about energy that I know is that when it comes to the epic games or even the audacities or the wind zips of the world, you got to understand that it's all satirical. Nothing is an utter faction or an utter certification of matter in itself. You got to understand that in things and in life, on certain Tuesdays, you got to just sit down and reflect on how that Tuesday went for you. Maybe the Tuesday didn't go quite well. Maybe it went really well. Hell, maybe you hit every single green light on your way home. Maybe you didn't. But you got to understand that when it comes down to qualifications of life, it's never that simple to just think about the end result of your actions. You got to think about what culminated it, right? What started? What was the catalyst for you to get to the end of the day? How many decisions did you make this day? How many compromises did you make today? If you think about the freedom needed to guide yourself, to guide the purpose of your life, you can think about all sorts of things. Maybe the purr of a cat, maybe the roar of a lion. Maybe those two things can be the same in a way of like an effect of all your actions you do throughout the day. It's a lot of things that you can think about and do without ever considering what the beginning of it is. There was a story a monk once told me that he never told me before that began with him saying that there was a 6-year-old boy that was walking down a certain forest one day, right? And he came across two paths. One path led to freedom. One path led to Freedom X2. Freedom X2 meaning that it is an unknown path. We have no idea what that path can lead to. We actually have no idea what the first path leads to. We have two paths with no clear destination. So you may ask yourself, which path would the boy choose, with him himself not understanding or knowing which path to do? Well, I think the answer is quite clear. You just go down the middle and you make your own path. Whether or not you make that decision, whether or not you go to the left or right, I think you understand innately already that it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really, I guess, have an effect on the end result, because you are the originator. You are the original energy that can change and make lasting effects throughout the different things that come in your life. You can only control how you react to things. If you have that control, then what is really the point of even making choices that you know that will lead to different effects in your own body? These are things to think about on a Tuesday day. Things to think about on a Wednesday are completely different. You don't want to think about any of this on Wednesday. You don't want to think about this on Thursdays, Fridays, anything. Those are different sections, those are different days. But you have to understand that it's never really an end to things. There's always beginnings. There's always different, middle parts to things. And middle parts are often neglected because of the fact that we understand how psychology is person to person, understanding the attention spans and understanding the true effect of gathering knowledge and intelligence, right? You understand that the beginning and the end is quite powerful, but the middle part, the true chunk of your content, the things you have to say, right? It matters. And I think you should put a lot of effort into it. You never want to be neglectful of every single thing that, comes into your life. That is the representation of the middle part of it. It's always times to really think about all the grass that's growing. It's time to really think about all the air, in particular your air, the air that you're breathing right now. You gotta understand that there's different parts to that air. that you don't even think about, that none of us would think about. But we understand that breathing is not even a part of our consciousness. It's just, was it in the brainstem? Was it not the medulla oblongata? I think that controls something else. But you do know that you don't have to think about breathing, right? Or even regulating our own temperature. That's all just like default, right? There's a lot of things in our life that we do that are default, like brushing your teeth, or I don't know, moving your sheets when you get out of bed a certain way. There's a lot of different things that really make you think, and there's never time to just give that up, right? You want to just keep on striving. You want to keep on going. You never want to just lie down and just let things just take you down, right? You gotta really understand where you are and where you're going, because if you don't, then what it really is the point? You can sit here and go on and on and on about all these different camouflages in life that you have to go through, but it's never the same with the same person that you talked to last week, because that person has a whole different grasp and understanding of the life they live and the life that they interpreted with you. So even if you go back and you have that conversation, or you go back and you rethink that conversation, you will never ever get to the point of a resolution that befits your own knowledge, because it's never there to grasp in the first place. You have to understand that there are things in this life that have complete control over the effects of things. As soon as you realize that, I think that freedom is within your grasp. I think that the Corsairs of the world, or the Colas, or the we can even go with the League of Legends of the world, the applications that really strive to be better, the applications that strive to push boundaries. And there's a lot of different things that you can take that into account, but you must understand that it's never the same once, twice, 3, 4, or 6 times. You can skip the 5. You can always skip the 5. 5 is never there to begin with. You have to understand that there are things that you can never ever take back. Never take back, right? Even if you go back to the never and it never goes back to the taking back, you understand that taking back can never be the never. Understanding these things can always be a jump start to your life. It can always be a kind of like a GTX of all the different things in your life, right? What does GTX mean? I just made it up. I have no idea what it means. Kind of like this entire video, I have no idea. I kind of just wanted to talk, and here I am talking. There are things that you can do when you're talking that can be very powerful and soothing to the ears, but there's a lot of things you can do also that is a complete bust to your ears, and you don't want to go down that path. Can you actually not go down that path if you don't want to? That's a whole different story. That's a conversation to have not on a Tuesday. That sounds more like a Saturday conversation. Different days have different emotions, different expectations for the thought process you have that day. You never want to, confuggle the different days into your conversations. That's when arguments happen, right? Arguments can happen, all different types of things, but you never want to cause an argument by just wanting to just be there, right? Even if the triangle squares of the world doesn't even want you to go back, then what even is the point? What even is the point if you didn't want to do all that? Because it's never going to be like that. You get a controller, you move that controller, you get the mouse, you move the mouse, but you never really understand why you did that in the first place. You do understand that you did buy it for a reason. You understand that you tried it for a reason, but you never understand, why am I keeping this, right? If you break down the psychology of the things you like and the things you want to do in this world, you can never really understand why I'm here, why you're doing this, right? I can tell you that there are things that you can never control, and I believe the things that you can never control cannot be said on these Tuesday. I believe this Tuesday is not meant for that. I believe this Tuesday is meant for a different purpose, right? But the thing about this video is because it's going to be eternal. So it doesn't matter if it's on a Tuesday. You may listen to this on a Wednesday or a Sunday, right? But the effect of the Tuesday message will prevail, and it's never going to not stop. The Tuesday message is real. The Tuesday message is, in fact, emphatical, and it's emphatic in my life. and that because I just made it up, and it's the Budok Tuesday, and whatever happens after the fact, I have no qualms or control over. So if you understand that, then there's no real actual problems in the processing of today or after this particular Tuesday.